Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, in the studio Monday. We got our Chiefs Happy Hour happening tonight at the Alamo Draft House. More on that later. First, let's talk some golf. British Open. Same story, different day?
Man is a machine. This is Scotty Scheffler, about whom we're talking. Anytime he plays, he is in the hunt. He is never out of it. This guy's amazing. He took the lead about midway through the second round of the British Open, which was played at Royal Portrush in Northern Ireland. Took the lead midway through the second round and held it the rest of the way. Now, it was not a crushing victory in regards to he put the field away, because he was challenged down the stretch yesterday. He finished at 17 under par, which is an outstanding score. But during that time period, he had to make some key putts to stay ahead, because he was being challenged by Harris English and people of that caliber. So it's a 4-stroke victory for Scheffler, which is huge. And now he has 3 majors, and he is not yet 30 years old. He looks a lot older than that, and that's not necessarily compliment or insult. He just has a more mature look about him. But he's only 29 years old, and he can play the game. Now, is he the next Tiger Woods? Definitely not, because he is a different personality altogether. Woods is very flamboyant and so forth and so on. Scheffler is not. His flamboyancy, if you can use that term, is a fist pump. And that's it. And he had to use that twice yesterday on the front 9 when he was faced with bogey situations and made par with long putts. The guy knows exactly how to play. He's won 3 majors. 3 major tournaments. The only one he hasn't won is the U.S. Open, and didn't win that this year. So here he is, right on the cusp of doing this thing. That guy is really, really tough, and he is dedicated to his craft, and he concentrates. That's the key. He doesn't let anything disturb him.
I think that's why a lot of you golfers like him so much, is because he is that way.
He's quiet.
Just plays the game, focuses in, and then his focus is really what becomes his flamboyancy, like you said. So it's definitely fun to watch him play.
He doesn't play to the crowd. And that's neither good nor bad. That's the way he is. You can't change the man. Whereas Woods does play to the crowd, and Woods is a great golfer in his prime. He's not now. But the fact is that a lot of it depends on your identification with the public. And Scheffler, his identification is winning. Win, baby. That's all you have to do.
Go home. How was the Price Cutter Charity Championship? I'm sure everyone was pretty warm this weekend.
It was warm, but they had pretty good crowds. I'm impressed with how many showed up. And the young man who won it, Chandler Blanchett, I had the pleasure of meeting on Thursday night. Very nice young man, very pleasant, from West Florida University. And at the time, he was number 27 on the Korn Ferry Tour points list. That's the key. The money's good. He won, $180,000, something like that. That's a pretty good little payday. It's not like the millions that they win out on the Pro Golf Tour, but $180,000 is pretty good. But it's the points, and the top 20 golfers get their automatic card to the PGA. Blanchett, at the time of this tournament, was 27th. He now has cracked that top 20, won 500 points from the Korn Ferry Tour yesterday, and that's a big deal. Finished 27 strokes under par. This was tournament number 4 that Blanchett had played at Highland Springs. Of course, they make the tour. And he says, I think I know this course pretty well. Pretty well got him a victory by 3 strokes out of the Price Cutter Charity Championship, and good for him.
When you think about racing, you think about North Carolina, Florida, some of the big places. Usually, in my mind, Delaware is not high on that list, but that's where NASCAR was yesterday.
And the Dover International Speedway is a big, big deal. It's the home of Delaware State University. University of Delaware is in Newark, but Delaware State is located in Dover, and that's where the Speedway is, and the Speedway is a very, very good one. That's where they did have the race yesterday. It went into overtime, and Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe's the driver for Johnny Morris in the Bass Pro Shops. They had they were fender to fender, bumper to bumper. My goodness, a great race. But at the end in the overtime, Denny Hamlin held him off, and he gets the checkered flag at Dover.
The baseball boys were back to work this weekend after the All-Star break. Cardinals not having a great one.
It's kind of a good news, bad news situation for the Cardinals. The good news is they did not get shelled yesterday by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bad news is they still lost. and lost all 3 games this weekend out of Chase Field in Phoenix. 2 of them were absolute wallopings, and the Saturday one might surprise the daylights out of me. 10-1, Arizona beat the Cardinals and beat Sonny Gray, who is the Cardinals' top pitcher. Gray went into this game, he just didn't have it. Gave up 8 runs and 11 hits in 3 innings. That's not Sonny Gray, my goodness sake. But lost that game 10-1. Lose yesterday 5-3. The Cardinals were competitive, did rally in the 9th inning, but not quite enough. So St. Louis loses all 3 games. They have not won, of course, since the All-Star break, which was a week ago this week. But still 8.5 games out of first place. 8.5. That's not an insurmountable margin, but with now about, 60, I'd say 61 or 62 games still to play in the season, it's tough because the Cardinals are not chasing one team. They're now chasing 2. The Cubs and the Milwaukee Brewers are tied for first place. And you know one or the other is going to be there, and the Cardinals have to overcome them. Furthermore, the Cardinals are in 4th place. Cincinnati Reds are ahead of them as well. That's going to be tough to overcome all these teams. But still, the Cardinals have a chance. They go to Denver tonight to play the Colorado Rockies. Arguably, well, it's not even arguable. They're the worst team in baseball. 24 wins is all they have this season. 24. They're on the ratio, on the margin to win about 40, and that's just awful. There's no excuse for that. Anyway, be that as it may, Cardinals lose all 3, and Arizona have a chance to make it up this week with games in Denver.
Cardinals Nation, before you start getting freaked out about the rest of your season, just know that the Kansas City Royals are pretty much in the exact same situation, especially after their return. They had a tough series with the Marlins. Even though they won yesterday, they did not win that series.
And didn't win that game easily yesterday. They went into the 9th inning, they being the Royals.
All those games were that way.
They were 7-0 up on the Miami Ball Club and then had to hold off the Marlins, who scored 4 runs in the last of the ninth. And I thought things got a little shaky for Kansas City, but the Royals did win, and they win it by a score of 7-4. Now, who do the Royals play? They go to Wrigley Field in Chicago to take on the Cubs this week. And the Springfield Cardinals got out hit last night 9-8, but did beat the Wichita Wind Surge 7-4. A game that was very quick on a Sunday night. Had to be on a Sunday night because it's too hot during the day to play any baseball down here. Nonetheless, good performance by Springfield. They go on the road now starting tomorrow in Tulsa.
Ned, we've got, again, our Alamo Draft House is the location this year for our Chiefs Happy Hour tonight. Mitch Holtis, Danon Hughes in town. You'll be there. I'll be there. Can't wait to talk about these guys. And we're definitely going to be talking about another guy back in the fold for the organization. Big
George Karlaftis. Not that he wasn't in the fold, but he did sign a contract extension yesterday for, my goodness, $94 million, of which 62 is guaranteed, and that's pretty doggone great. He's one of the key pass rushers, the edge rushers on this team, and Karlaftis, who kind of flies under the radar a little bit, he is a ferocious player. He's a kid out of Purdue University who made such a big name for himself in college. Nobody was really familiar with him when the Chiefs drafted him a couple of years ago, but they're familiar with him now, and they know fully well he's a tough hombre. He's had in his 3 years with the Chiefs, I think he has totaled 24 sacks on the year, something like that. And that, folks, is pretty good. Anyway, he's in the fold, a lot of money, and we'll find out what the Chiefs are going to do tonight.
Yep, be there starting at 5 o'clock, Alamo Draft House. Also, with that contract, I just love that front office deals because, like with Karlaftis and Trey, you look at the back and you're like, that's a lot of money, but then you have to consider we had him for several years on it. So it evens out, and it's a more, definitely a more team-friendly contract in that regard sometimes. Ned, I'll see you tonight. Get some rest. You're going to need it.